Good day, everyone. I'm Jordan, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone to today's webinar, which is Upcoming New 2026 HIPAA Changes and Beyond. I want to introduce our presenter for today, Brian L. Tuttle. Brian L. Tuttle is a certified professional in health IT, certified HIPAA professional, certified HIPAA administrator, certified business resilience auditor, and certified information system security professional with over 17 years of experience in health IT and compliance consulting. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Brian.
Very much. Again, just a quick background. My name's obviously Brian Tuttle, and been working in the world of healthcare compliance, really dating back to the beginning of the HIPAA Security Rule, which came out in 2003, and it amended the original 1996 HIPAA Privacy Rule. And what it did, of course, was add additional regulations relating to electronic protected health information, as that's where we were moving as a society, and certainly where we are today. The overwhelming majority of protected health information is certainly in electronic form, and thus we have these standards that we need to comply with to ensure that we are securing that information to, quote, reasonable and appropriate levels. And definitely for 2026, there's a lot of changes coming around the corner, especially with the HIPAA security rule, due to the fact that we've had so many breaches in the last 2 or 3 years. It's just been really bad. There's been more breaches in the last couple of years than the entire history of this regulation dating back to 1996. 5 titles to this, and you guys don't need to know all of this. I'm just throwing this out there as a sort of a preface to all this, but it is the small subset under Title II called administrative simplification, that when we in healthcare or groups working with healthcare, when we think of the word, or better, the acronym HIPAA, so privacy versus security. Privacy came out first, complying with the HIPAA Privacy Rule. So moving forward in time, the final omnibus rule and then we're going to get to where we are today shortly, but 2013, September 23rd, 2013, which was quite some time ago, but there's a couple points I wanted to make here about that. One being the burden between business associate and covered entity being equal. Real quick on telemedicine, if you do use telemedicine, you want to, at this point, use a HIPAA compliant solution. Do not use FaceTime. But commuting has become much, much more common in healthcare, and there's some of the changes with the regulation addressing a little more of this. But regardless, it's extremely important to have policies and procedures in place relating to telecommute. Okay, so let's talk about the privacy rule changes that we really need to get moving on here. They're not a lot, but these were submitted. The final rule occurred February 16th, 2024. Compliance date is required February 16th, 2026. And most of these are pretty, they're not major, but let's just look at a few of them. There's 3 categories that there's some tweaking occurring. Now, the security rule changes. Remember, this is security of electronic protected health information. There are a ton of proposed changes. Now, when the federal government changes law, just real quick, obviously, the biggest risk we face by a million miles is cyber threats, unfortunately, and that's just, all of us are in the same boat here. I did a print screen. When was this? This was back in September, it looks like, of 2025. But if you go to the OCR breach portal, it's public domain. Any group that's had a breach of over 500 individuals has to be put on this list. Healthcare is a major target, and all of these systems that we use that make life really better, software as a service, patient portals, telemedicine, the EMRs, all these things, a lot of benefits, but do open entry points. Now, we want everyone to be a human firewall, assets, not liabilities. BYOD, bring your own device, not to be confused with BYOB. That makes HIPAA more interesting, for sure. But personal device use is definitely increasing. guys got some good information out of that. And, we'll hopefully soon know what the final rules are going to be, but I'm pretty confident most that we went through will be required, with the exception of the handful of like the penetration testing across the board and few things like that. But yeah, just really boils down to best practices. But that's all I have. And again, if you guys do have any other questions, just let the folks with the webinar group know, and they'll get in touch with me, and I'll get those answered as soon as I can.
Thank you, Brian. That
Thank you.
concludes the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you.